You're listening to the revival drive. Left and round and center tone is coming alive. It's got some ghost and a lot of soul. A dynamic beast. Now listen to it go. Now that was cool, a little bluesy. How about the something that's a little more juicy? Yeah. What's up, everybody? My name is Morten Farsrud, and this is my demo of the Revival Drive from Origin Effects. So I used this pedal on all the guitars on that little demo track that you just heard. So before I get started, I just want to point you towards the demo that Origin Effects did themselves of this pedal, where they go through everything, you know, and they can explain it much better than I can. So I'll put a link for that in the description. I'm just gonna play a little bit through different amps and you know, turn a little bit off the knobs, and we'll talk a little bit about that and see how this thing sounds. So yeah, great pedal. Look forward to show it to you. Let's play a little bit and turn a few knobs and see what happens. First off, this is a classic combination of a Gibson Les Paul and a Marshall. In this case, like a classic Marshall 15-watt combo, and without anything. This is the sound straight into the amp. So we're starting with kind of a neutral sound, pretty high gain. You know, that's pretty great right off the bat. So this volume is actually the gain. Kind of a lot of it. Right now I've actually turned up the ghost. Let me turn off the ghost noting thing. So if you didn't notice it was there, you probably noticed that something went away now. Let me turn it all the way up. You can kind of hear those extra notes, and what that is simulating what would happen if you took a vintage amplifier and just cranked it all the way up. You'd get these artifacts, notes. It kind of blends in with the rest. If you take it away, it sounds really like clinical and sterile in comparison. So it's really great to have. I like to have just a little bit, not too much, but just it's to me. I'm not too like, for me it's not about that it has to sound like an amp from 69 or whatever. But the thing with this ghost thing for me is it's just a little bit of sauce, just a little bit of spice that just you know, it's just a little something that makes me more inspired to play. You know, compared to tone is the same, but just kind of missing that thing. Okay, so now we have, let's check out actually let's do the preamp. You have a knob that goes from GB to US. What that actually, when it's in the middle, that's kind of neutral. What that does, if you take it to either side, it's gonna simulate turning the bass all the way down on your amp to kind of clean up the muddiness of the tone, and that's particularly useful when using the bridge pickup. I tend to get a little bit on a Les Paul. It gets a little bit muddy down here, right? Treble pickup. This one is kind of in the middle. It's neutral. Take it this side is like raising the presence control. Take it the other way, it's kind of bringing it more towards being, it's a negative feedback loop thing that I have no idea how works at all. You know, I don't know how a light switch works, but this kind of, in the middle, it's kind of open sounding. If you take it this way, it just makes it a little more aggressive. For soloing, I really like it. You know, you get it's really, you know, at the bottom, the top too. You know, it's just this is kind of silky. It's nice, but take it this way, and you have a little more fist coming through. And now with the bass pickup, you can hear how that can be a little bit of a problem down there. Or maybe you like that effect that is kind of a little bit basic. But see what happens if we take this preamp knob one way. Just cleans that up right away. Right? This is a neutral. This is on the GB side. US side. I think the US side take off. One of them let through more of the mids, and one of it let through only like almost just a treble. So I'm guessing the GB side here has a little bit more mid range, while the US side is a bit brighter. This is the bass pickup, right? And neutral. But this is a little bit too dark in my area. On. So yeah, I like that. Now I can play a solo with this pickup. So see what happens if we go back to this one again. Will it be too bright then? A little bit too less of bass? It's fine, I think. You know, I could... Now the tone is completely open. I never have it completely open. But I can adjust that a little bit. See, down to, let's say, halfway. That's a lot of tone taken off. Treble. And bass. So that's, you know, that works, right? And you can these channels they're kind of similar. You can have you can set this orange side, which is like mimicking a valve rectifier. If you want, you can set it to be a silicone rectifier on both sides, so they're completely similar. So in that case, if you need to kind of change settings from pickup to pickup or whatever, you can just switch sides, and they'll sound exactly the same except from the setting you want to change. So yeah, what else? Yeah, I want to show you like the bright cap, and this is something that I've never understood. I saw Simon's explanation of what a bright cap is and how it works, which is kind of cool. I was just thinking that it makes the sound brighter, but that's not quite the case. It's taking, if you have the volume control, which will be a gain control, but on amps back in the day that didn't have master volume, you'd have to just crank it to get overdrive. But what the bright cap does is that it takes the treble and bypasses it from the volume and just turns it up on full, right? The volume, I guess, is just turning down volume. So if we take the bright cap off on a pretty clean setting, you'll get the clean, kind of clean basic tone, and the treble is gonna distort or overdrive. You can kind of hear, if I turn it even more down, you can kind of hear that the sound is divided in two. You have the clean kind of dark part of the sound, and then the really overdriven high part of the sound, which is awesome. Like, it's not like ear-piercingly bright and nasty. It just, like for rhythm playing, right? You get a really high energy sound without kind of muddying up all the bass and stuff, making it kind of too squishy and hard to place in a mix, right? It can be pleasing. It's pleasing to listen to when you sit by yourself and play and have a lot of gain and a lot of, stuff. But normally, the stuff you hear on records that you think is really high gain, it's less gain than you would think, So that's a Great Britain kind of bright cap. I guess that's kind of a Marshall thing. And the US bright cap is like a Fender Twin. Let's listen to it dry again. Actually, let's put the preamp back to neutral. See that the bass came back. So the preamp back to neutral and the bright cap. There is something about how the bright caps, they are different, but I don't know what the difference is. You'll have to see the video from Origin Effect. They go, in detail on everything. I can't really explain. I just like what I hear. Oops. So tone like this. Just a little bit more push. The other one. Now my volume is down here and bass pickup with the bright cap. That's nice. All right. Let's turn on the preamp thing to GB. It's a fantastic lead tone. This is really, it's gonna cut through the mix. Okay, let's just look at the silicone side, which is sort of similar, right? But it has that. I'm sorry, not the silicone side, the valve rectifier side. So it's gonna have that kind of valve rectifier sag, compression sounding thing. Turn up the ghost notes a little bit. Actually, let me turn it down a little bit. So the thing with the bright cap, I forgot to say, but if you turn the volume all the way up, the bright cap is not going to do anything because then everything is let through. So if you turn this down and then turn on the bright cap, then the treble thing is going to be let through without being stopped, and you've turned down the other stuff. So that's a kind of cool thing, I think. Yeah, what more? The dry control. That's a nice feature too. None of my other pedals have that. That's really cool. So if I take this all the way down, that's gonna be only dry signal, and then I can blend in the original revival drive. So it's a pretty clean tone with a fairly amount of overdrive and tone. And on the foot switch, you can bypass that blend knob. So if I push this in, it's gonna go straight through. Yeah, it's really nice. I use it's so you have like a parallel overdrive, right? I use that all the time with the compressor, so you get the dry signal through, so it doesn't mess us up with your dynamics. It just gives, you can add that compressor like something underneath to give it, sparkling joy. So same thing here. You can have the dry go through, and then just bring in. Maybe. So I like it there. Let's listen to turn up the more thing. See, there's a lot of knobs, but you just use your ear, right? I have no idea what the actual what's actually happening within this pedal, but just using your ears and what you need. You want it brighter, you want it darker. That was the bass pickup, right? That's pretty cool. So now I have a setting that I can go back and forth between those pickups. I showed you earlier how different they are, but they both work really great for a soloing tone. All right, I'm going to switch guitars and we'll play a little bit more. Okay, so another classic combination, Fender Telecaster through a Fender amplifier. In this case, it's not a Fender Twin actually, it's a Fender Concert amp. They don't make them anymore. This is like from the mid-90s, I think. Similar to a Twin, not quite a Twin. The EQ setting here, the reamp EQ, the EQ number 1, that's set for a Fender Twin. I'm actually going to start with just keeping it the same, and we'll see how both of them sounds. It's not like, I don't think it's not like one is right and one is wrong. I think both of them actually work quite well. So let's just listen to the dry tone first. This is just the amp. Right, neck pickup, mid, and bridge. Okay, so let's start really subtle with just a little bit of push here on the rectifier side. Right, sorry, dry and on. So now it's set kind of neutral, just a little bit of gain, and still on the EQ2 setting, right? And dry. So, you know, to me, this sound can be used for stuff, but for most cases, this is gonna sound like a bit like dull and boring, and without character. To me, I want this pretty much, you know, no care for me, I'm happy as I can be. This fits. Learn to love and to live, devil may care. No cares and woes, whatever comes, later goes. That's how I live and live, devil may care lyrics. When the day is gone, I suffer no regrets. I know he who frets loses the night. For only a fool thinks he can hold back the dawn. He was wise and tries to revise what's passing on. New day, whatever comes, then stop for a sigh. It doesn't help if you cry. That's how I'll live and that's how I'll die. Right, compared to happy as I can be. That's dull, right? So just to liven up the sound. I love that sound. So that's the pedal just giving it a little bit more energy, a little bit more excitement, you know. Still on the EQ2. So what now? Let's try the high gauge not the high, I'm always saying the high gauge channel because I kind of tend to use the orange side more softly than the other side, the silver side. Let's see. I mean, you know, that's a great sound. I mean, let's give it some ghost notes here. A bit more. I mean, that works for me. The EQ1 setting is gonna take off a lot of the like the high treble, and it gives it a lot of boost in the bass. And we have, as you'll hear, we have to deal with that somehow. So see how it sounds when I turn it change to EQ1. Okay, so it's way too bassy, but we're gonna use that bass to kind of. It's not gonna be a civil sound with this setting. I think it is going to be kind of wild and sound really crank. So first off, we'll use this preamp thing to get rid of some of that. And also see here, the lows I can turn down. Also, I don't want that much gain. And I'll turn it towards the negative feedback thing to give it a bit more tightness in the kind of upper mid thing. So it's kind of dirty, it's kind of wild, but it can be used for, I mean, if you want that kind of thing. Let's give it even more ghost notes and a bit less lows. Let's try also the bright cap. A bit more. So I used this setting on the Orange channel on the intro song, on like work with this channel as well. I love the bright cap. It's just gives it like. It's it's kind of wild, right? It's not it's not a subtle kind of sound. But it has its use. I mean, just to me, I need to tweak it a little bit and be careful where I use it. It's not going to fit everywhere, like a universal. I wouldn't have this like a bassline sound, for a whole gig. But for some things, and to have this available in the studio, of course, is great for when you really want that digging in. Really dirty, right? This is coming from this sound, right? It's so so yeah, it's great. It's a little bit compared to the EQ. Let's see, EQ two setting, which is like really easy to deal with and just gives your tone. In the case I use it, just gave it a little bit of a push and a little bit of excitement. This is something more. This is dirtier. It's like swampy, bluesy. It's wild, right? Kind of dig it. I kind of love it, actually. It says. How about we try to blend it? It's not too bad. It's kind of funny because you have a really, really clean sound blended with a really dirty. But it's funny. All right, let's try to open it up a little bit with the presence. You can take off even more lows, I think. So now the lows are on 0, right? So don't be afraid to just do whatever it takes to. Okay. Hopefully you got a little bit wiser. Of course, with a pedal like this, you really should try it. I don't know if shops take it in and you can go and try it, because the sound is one thing, but the play feel you kind of need to experience for yourself how this thing responds to dynamics. which is, to me, that's crucial. If the sound is not pleasant to play on and inspire me to play, sound doesn't really. I mean, that's not enough. So and this pedal is it's really fantastic, you know. But again, you should really try it, I guess. So I hope you get a chance to try it, and I hope, you know, this inspired you to try it. Or, I mean, you can just take my word for it and just buy it because it's fantastic. So there's that. Anyway, have a great day. I'm Morten Ferstrand. This is the Revival Drive from Origin Effects. See you soon. Bye bye.